I've been asked a bunch of times to do a rig update, so here it is. It's easier to have one rig and one board with everything on it than to have like 2 or 3 and run the risk that I'll forget something at the important moments. This is basically just like one like big security blanket. There's a 96 G&L found on the used wall at a Guitar Center. Really like it. It's got some tele switching options. Then the Prairiewood. These two are my main guitars. This is got Dr. V pickups by Fulltone in it, as well as a push-pull tele switching option. This is a Godin FFX. You can't see it under here, but it does have 3 inputs, one for electric and acoustic, one for acoustic, one for electric. The acoustic is a piezo pickup, and it actually sounds decent acoustic, and so I'll run 2 cables out of that. Works nice, especially for worship leading. I'll run that into a volume pedal, which I don't have right now, somewhere I can't find, and then the tuner, and then into this imaginary direct box here. This volume pedal is for pads, which is my guitar rig pre-looped and all the keys. I load it onto the iPod, it goes into the volume pedal, and then into a direct box or this separate amp here. I enjoy having an Epiphone valve junior next to a Matchless because the price is incredibly different, but they both sound really good. That's the top to my pedal board. This is the Matchless, this first channel Phil Jameson modded to me for the Spitfire preamp instead of the Lightning, so that's why this is just a tone control and the treble is plugged. I use the EF86 channel a lot of the time. On both channels I like using the second input, the lower input. It gives you kind of a smoother tone, and then you can always gain it up later. This is a 65 amps cab. I have a Scumnico and a Blue in there. A Scumnico 30 watt, which is the one I mic most of the time. Right now I'm miking, it looks like Bach there. That helps with the tone. So the pedal board here, I start off by going directly into this Hartman Vintage Germanium fuzz with EA cables. Almost exclusively I do have some lavas as well. But the fuzz is first because Germanium fuzzes like to be first. Then I go under here to the Fryette Valvulator buffer, which you can't see, but it is back here. There's that. From there I run into the Lunar Module by Skreddy, which is everything a fuzz should be and more. This is an amazing pedal. Then I run into this Loop Master bypass switcher, which has all my drives in it, as well as a master bypass tuner. And then loop 1 here is an Electro-Harmonix LPB-1. I have this on it so that I can change it with my foot. These are nice. They save you having to buy extra pedals, so you can just change the knobs by yourself on the fly. And they cost about $2. Another tone-saving tip, while I'm thinking about it real quick, is these strap locks, which are washers from Home Depot for like $1. And then the other one is that all my gear, besides the stuff that's been given to be demoed, is bought used almost exclusively, and that really helps. So loop 1 I said was this LPB-1. Loop 2 is the Ibanez TS7 on hot mode, which it's modded, but surprisingly the hot mode gives you a really great fuzz sound. Loop Loop 3 is Boss OD1. Again, this is $30 used at Guitar Center. It's an original. I was so surprised to find it, and it just keep finding uses for it. Then loop 4 would probably be my first overdrive layer, which is the Creation Audio Labs Holy Fire. Again, I've got this casing on it, on the knob, so that I can add in the amount of compression and distortion that I like. That's an incredibly useful knob on the Creation Audio Labs. Loop 2 is the Fulltone Fatboost version 1, running at 12 volts. Or not loop 2, loop, is that 5? Yeah. Second layer of boost overdrive, and then third layer of boost overdrive, loop 6, is another Electro-Harmonix LPB-1, because for $40 new, it's hard to get better than those pedals. This loop master runs directly into this one, which controls my effects. Also with master bypass, loop 1 is the Arion SPH-1 phaser from the 80s. Fantastic phaser that sounds just as good, if not better, than a lot of the boutique ones out there. Loop 2 is the Danelectro Tremolo here. This one is about $15. It does not sound as good as the boutique tremolos out there, but for $15 it really holds its own, and it's hard to tell the difference. It sounds really good, but I do probably need another tremolo within the next hour, I think. 3 is my volume pedal. It's George Dennis. I got it in a trade, meaning to sell it, but it's optical, and I was surprised how good it sounds, but I still keep it in a loop. Loop 4 and Loop 8 are this Digitech Jamman looper, and it has stereo inputs and outputs, so I use it as dual mono, and then it's actually almost like 2 loopers in one. So I put Loop 4 pre-delay and reverb, and then Loop 8 post-delay and reverb, so I can have a looper in both positions depending on what I'm looking for. Loop 5 here is runs into my Strymon Brigadier, which I use for ambience, and then right into the Timeline, which I use for I guess everything else. And then the Timeline is controlled here by this Rocktron MIDI mate. So then Loop 6 is the Arion SPH-1 S81 analog delay. I use this like a melding reverbish pedal. I have yet to find a pedal that can do what this one does. I got it used in Hollywood and a long time ago, and it's still working, and no other delay can sound like it yet that I've heard. Then Loop 7 is the El Capistan. My favorite switch, I've got it on a spring reverb setting with the super fast delay time, so it's just like a reverb. Then this is just a nice quarter. So that's kind of a utility delay I use for my main delays when I need to use the Timeline for like filters and different like ambient stuff. Loop 9 is this old 80s Boss NF1 noise gate. I needed it one time about a year and a half ago and I didn't have it. I was playing at a building with horrible power. and so I figured I need to pick up a noise gate for emergencies like that. And then I have not turned it on in a year and a half, so, but it is still on the board. And then out of there, out of this loop master, then I have a reverb post loop master so that I can master bypass everything, and if reverb's on, can still get a little bit of a natural fade out if I like. Favorite switch is shimmer, which is so overused, but overusing it doesn't make it sound any worse, still sounds great. And then I've got this here so that I can roll the mix knob. Blue Sky comes right out into the Matchless, and I think that's it. I don't know if I have any other tone tips here except, oh yeah, use a G7 capo on your electrics because it doesn't pull the strings. Use a brass slide so it doesn't break. And then I've got Voodoo Labs pedal powers under here that come out of the Furman power conditioner.